Howdy folks, and welcome back to another episode of Tyria Talk. My name is Richie, and this show is all about this sensational upcoming MMO, Guild Wars 2. This is episode number 38, and today is part 3 of my launch guide for Guild Wars 2. Tomorrow, it depends on when you're watching this obviously, but we are, as of live recording this right now, we are 1 day away from launch, about 24 hours, maybe 26 hours away from actual launch, and I am super excited. I don't know, I'm actually kind of nervous about it. There's it's just been a lot of waiting and a lot of following this game and a lot of research and a lot of just, I don't know, there's a lot of emotions going into this, and I'm pretty darn excited to actually have the game come out already. So, so part 3 of this launch guide is finally here. Today I'm going to be talking about just like what do you do after you do the tutorial area? What are the different what's the content for leveling up? Mostly with a PvE focus in this episode. And so if you missed one of my previous launch guides, I'm going to put that information up on the screen somewhere right now, so you can click on part 1 and part 2. So that's good. And just to rehash real quick, if you know a ton about this game and been watching my videos or doing research on your own, this video might still be interesting to you because you might have people that are unsure about whether or not they want to get the game or have gotten the game and they haven't done much of their own research. So this is a great video to share with them and get them up to speed quickly on just some tips and tricks to get started with the game. Great. All right, let's get to it. So, first episode took care of character creation and stuff before getting into the game. The second episode was more about just general tips and tricks, how to set up your options, key bindings, different things like that. Now, third is after you've completed, this is what we're going to do today, after you've completed the tutorial area and now you're in the game proper, what are some of the things like where do you go, what do you do, and all of that. So let's start off with the scouts. Let's talk about scouts. Now, when you first come into the map, you're going to actually be able to see a scout pretty near where you start. A scout is an NPC that has they have a little like spyglass over their head. You can actually see them on the map as well. If you talk to any of these NPCs, they will give you a overhead map view of the area, and they will actually circle areas of the map where stuff is going on. They're going to circle renowned hearts. And they're going to actually give you they're going to actually be talking about what's going on in these specific points. And what the really cool thing about this is, it's not just like, it's not like doing an area or a zone in another MMO and not having really any idea of what the story is. And you got to kind of piece it together from reading quest text and stuff like that. If you listen to this voiceover as he's circling areas on the map, or she, you're actually going to get a sense of what's going on. Oh my goodness, the centaurs are attacking all over this place over here, or there's stuff going on with the animal spirits or whatnot. So pay attention if you like the lore and the story of the game. Pay attention to those scouts and what they have to say. But in any case, so the scouts will actually kind of put you in a path of where you can kind of go. Now, I'm going to talk about these renowned hearts next. These renowned hearts are like one-time completable things for your character. You will kind of saunter over to one of these renowned hearts, and you can immediately perform some tasks to complete them. There's going to be, when you're near one of these hearts, you're going to actually have a little bar in your upper right-hand corner of your screen that you can fill up. It's a little yellow, I think it's a yellowish bar that you can fill up. And normally, I think in every case, you can do multiple things to fill this heart up. So, for example, if you're going to be helping out a farm, you can, water the crops by picking up a little like watering can and using that bundle on the crops there, and you'll see them grow. Or you can fight off bandits that are attacking the farm, or you can feed the cows. So they'll give you a number of different ways to actually complete it. And every time you contribute, it'll help fill up that bar. And then when that bar is done, you will complete the renowned heart. Now, it works very similar to quests in other games, but you don't actually have to pick up the quest anywhere, and you don't have to turn it in. It's automatic. You just go near it, and things will happen. Now, after completing a renowned heart, a couple things happen. First is you get a mail. It'll actually pop up in your upper left-hand corner of your screen. You'll see a little mailbox thing. And they'll thank you for helping them through the mail, and they'll actually give you some currency. So you want to make sure you take the currency out of these mail items. It's really, really convenient. And the other thing that happens is, oh, by the way, so mail, there are no mailboxes in Guild Wars 2. You just send mail to people from anywhere, and they get it instantaneously. It's really kind of neat. So, but keep this in mind. The mail system is how you trade items with other players and stuff like that. You can't like directly trade from player to player. You can send mail. So the other thing that happens when you complete a renowned heart is the person that, maybe the farmer in this example, or the person that's kind of there representing that heart, that renowned heart, they will turn into a karma vendor. Now, one of the currencies that you get for completing renowned hearts and for doing dynamic events, which I'll talk about in a minute, is one of the currencies is called karma. Now, you also get gold and different things like that, but karma is used at these karma vendors to just buy different things. And these vendors will have all kinds of little goodies on them. They can have little accessories that you can equip to help increase the power of your character. You can get things that are like consumables, like, things that give you temporary buffs, things that do fun little things. You can get salvage kits. Salvage kits help you break down equipment and stuff that you don't need. If you don't want to just sell it to a vendor, or you don't want to sell it on the trading post, you can salvage the items, and they actually break down weapons and armor and such into crafting materials. There's also items called salvage items, which their sole purpose is to be salvaged by a salvage kit to get items out of it. So I went on a tangent there, but I don't know. It's an important little detail to know. So anyway, the renowned heart people turn into karma vendors where you can buy goodies from. Okay, so renowned hearts kind of feel a lot like quests in other games, and their main purpose is to just give you some semblance of it for those players that really need to kind of be led around, and they want to feel like that they know where they're going, or have a direction to head in. And they're not required in any way, shape, or form. You can literally skip them or just wander around the world and explore, and I definitely encourage you to do that if you find that fun, because the main bulk of the content in the game is through dynamic events in terms of PvE content. Dynamic events are basically things that happen in the world that sometimes they occur randomly. Sometimes they occur on some sort of time, that's a timed thing. Sometimes players actually have to do something to spawn these events. Like, there'll be like a kid standing there, and he'll be like, he's kind of like talking to himself or whatever. And you talk to that kid, and he'll be like, I need to do this. And he'll go run off, and, he'll aggro this giant elk. And he'll say, we got to kill this elk because my dad needs the head or whatever. And you're like, so you just spawn that event. But yeah, a dynamic event is something that's happening in the world. You will see it happening in the world, and you can kind of affect its outcome, and earn rewards by completing it. So, for example, I actually have a whole video on dynamic events. I think it's my first video I did. So you'll notice it doesn't have the same level of quality as my videos nowadays, but it's the first video I did. I'll put a link up on the screen so you can check it out. It goes way into detail about what dynamic events are, but basically it'll be something that's happening in the world that you can affect, and there are consequences for it succeeding or failing in the world that will last for however long that chain event is supposed to. Some of the events will actually chain into other events, so if it doesn't complete, then those other chains don't trigger. Every single event is different, and you'll notice that the events get more complicated the further into the game you go. So, for example, they'll just, in the Norn starting area, there is a dynamic event when the Sons of Svanir, these, mind-controlled Norn, start attacking near the Bear Shrine. And just a whole bunch of them will come out of the forest and just start attacking the Bear Shrine out of nowhere. Now, meanwhile, you could be at the Bear Shrine performing the Renowned Heart when this event spawns, and all of a sudden you have to fight off all of these guys. And it's not like kill 5 of them and then the quest completes or whatever. It's literally waves of these guys attacking, and you don't succeed in the event until you actually stop them from attacking. And you do that by just staying alive and repelling as many as them can. And everyone in the area can contribute to this together and help each other. Remember, there's no competition at all. And so that's what events are. Now, for completing an event, you will actually get participation reward, meaning it'll say event complete, and you'll have on your upper right hand corner, it'll give you a medal. it'll give you a bronze, a silver, or a gold medal. And all this is an indication of how, did you contribute enough to this event? And that's to prevent people from just standing there, twiddling their thumbs, and getting a full share of the reward for doing nothing but stand there and twiddle their thumbs. So yeah, if you get, and it's not hard to get gold participation in these things. It's just a mechanism that they have there. But you will get karma and gold and experience points for completing dynamic events, and that's where the bulk of the content in the game comes from, is doing those dynamic events. The renowned hearts are really the breadcrumbs that kind of lead you to run around the world and actually see things, and then events will spawn all over the place. So don't feel like you're done with an area or a zone. Oh, I completed all the renowned hearts. No, you know what? You can still explore. If you see a cave on the map, go look at that cave. If if there's an area that you haven't really seen before, just go do that, because there's no collecting quests in this game. You don't have to have things in your quest log. You don't have to turn things in. Just run around and go nuts. Find things to do. Some of the best moments I've had in the betas are just when I, go off the beaten path and just explore. And feel free to do that with your friends or with a group of strangers. You don't have to be in the same group to actually play around together. So that's kind of what I wanted to cover in terms of dynamic events and renowned hearts. There are also other things you can do in a map. If you bring up your map, you can look for points of interest. These are little areas on the map that if you can get to the proper place, it'll give you like a little, it'll pop up point of interest, and it'll tell you the name of the point of interest. You'll get a little bit of experience points for doing that. And there's also something called vistas, which you can see a scroll, usually up somewhere high. It'll be a scroll that if you can kind of get to it, and usually there's some jumping and some figuring out involved, it'll actually give you a cinematic pan of the area. And then, again, you get experience points for that and the little movie reward thing. So, yeah, there's a bunch of different things you could do in terms of content like that. Another thing I'm going to mention is just getting around in the game. Did I mention this in a previous one? I can't remember. There's a waypoint system where anytime you unlock a waypoint, there's these little blue-like symbols on the screen. The waypoints, you can teleport to them, so you don't actually have to constantly run everywhere. Now, there's a small gold fee to use a waypoint, and the fee is greater the further you're traveling. And so, once you unlock these waypoints by exploring the area, you can actually teleport around the zone quite quickly. So there are no mounts in the game, but this definitely helps you get around the game world much quicker. If you actually die in the game, you need to respawn at a waypoint. So it's good to always get waypoints close to where you're experiencing content in case you die. And I don't believe there's any gold fee to teleport to a waypoint once you're dead. All right, there are also skill challenges on the map. They are signified by little chevron symbols on the map. Skill challenges are little things. Sometimes you have to fight a monster. Sometimes you have to perform some sort of action. When you go to these skill challenges, the reward for them is a skill point, which will help you unlock your utility skills and your healing skills and your elite skills when you get high enough level. So, look out for those on the map too. So all those different things, lots of different things go into what you can do in the world. The important thing I think to point out here is you don't have to do it in any sort of, you don't want to, I don't know. It's hard to break that mold of doing things in a very linear fashion. You don't have to. You can do part of the Norn starting area if you're a Norn, and then port on over to the Sylvari starting area and play over there if you have some friends over there. You don't it's great because you don't have to pick up the quests. How cool is that? How freeing is that? So you can go in any of the level appropriate zones for you and just experience the content without feeling like, oh, am I supposed to be here or not? You can just do what you want. Another important thing that the devs have tried to drive home is just because you complete a dynamic event doesn't mean that there's not more to see. And you can kind of stick around at the end of these dynamic events, follow the NPCs around, listen to what they have to say, and sometimes you're just rewarded with a neat little experience. Sometimes it chains into another dynamic event or something else that's surprising. So just because you got the little gold medal there and people start to disperse doesn't mean there's nothing left to see. And a good example of this is There's an example of, like, the little boy I said earlier who wanted to kill the gigantic elk for his dad. If you help him kill the gigantic elk and you take its head, you can actually follow the boy back when he gives it to his dad. And his dad is at first upset because the boy did something dangerous. He went out hunting without his dad and everything like that. But then, after the little lesson learned, interaction with his son, the father actually mounts the head on the wall of the home, and it's the huge elk head will actually appear. So it's kind of cool that actually has a conclusion. You could walk away as soon as the dynamic event is done and you've killed the elk, or you can walk and see this interaction. That's a tiny little example. Sometimes it will actually lead to another dynamic event. But stick around and smell the roses, and don't be in such a rush to get to the next thing. The game works differently than other MMOs, where it's just this, a lot of MMOs is just this rat race. I got to get to max level as fast as possible. Smell the roses in this game. There's a lot of them to smell. I don't know. That was a really bad expression or something. Finally, I just want to mention very briefly, there is also personal story. You will notice that your personal story, it kind of works more like a linear quest type system. You'll have that in your tracking on the top right as well. And you can go and do that, and this is like instanced story-based stuff directly pertaining to your character. You can follow that. You can actually have your friends in your party with you. They will watch your story and kind of help alongside, but it's still your personal story. This works kind of similar to the class quests in Star Wars: The Old Republic. So if you're familiar with that, you'll find this somewhat familiar. But it's a branching storyline. The decisions that you made during your biography and character creation will have a direct bearing on what you see here. And the choices you make in the personal story will also have an outcome into what your home instance in your capital city actually looks like, and the different people that you'll find there. So personal story is another bit of content for the PvE folk. All right, so I think I've covered the bases quite a bit in terms of how you can play this game. The main point being just, explore and see where this game leads you. You don't have to do anything in a specific order, and you don't have to pick things up in advance and actually share quests, or I'm not on that step of that quest, so can you come back and do the prerequisite with me, and all that nonsense. That's completely gone from this game, and just ready for us to consume like rabid little wombats that we are. So that's going to wrap things up for today's episode. Thanks so much for watching. Please leave me a question or comment in the comments field below, and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can be notified when future videos are released. And also follow me on Twitch and Google Plus and Facebook and Twitter if you need to contact me for anything. So I will see you guys in game in about a day. Yeah. This is a dumb face. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good day.